Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you 20 tips for how to landscape a home and make it look good. I've just built this beautiful home here that I'm going to use for my Newcrest rebuild, but we have one problem. I have no idea how to landscape. Well, if you just follow this simple guide, you'll have all the tips and tricks for how to landscape. Before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below if this helps or if you have another tip that we may want to add to this. So let's get started. So the first thing I always see people doing is making really like luscious landscaping for a suburban home, but like minimal landscaping for like a fairy cottage, which makes no sense. So you first have to think, what are some of the traits of your sim? So my sim's a loner, family oriented, and perfectionist. So maybe she takes up landscaping. So her landscaping may be quite neat and clean. Maybe she has some family stuff all over the place. But that's one of the first things that you have to think about when you're actually going to make your landscaping. Another thing to consider is what is the style of your home. If you're doing this fancy mega mansion, you may want nice clean landscaping. But if you're doing kind of like a small suburban home, you may want something a bit more like messy. If you're making a fairy cottage, you may want something a lot like bushy and magical. So that is one thing to take into consideration when doing landscaping for your home. Next thing before you do your landscaping is you're going to want to map out where you want stuff. So say I wanted a swing set right here or a little play area right here. I would actually put that in before I started my landscaping. So I would grab like my wedding arch and put it right here before we go. I'll just put some stuff up and I'll show you guys how it would look when after you've done mapping it out. So mapping it out can really just include anything. It can include just putting stuff where you need it. So say you need like a observatory in your backyard. Well, grab the observatory and put it where you think you want it in your backyard right now. That's literally all you have to do for mapping out your landscaping. It isn't hard at all, and you don't really need to put that much detail into it. You have kids, put a swing set. You want something outside, put it outside. You can even just throw it in a random place and then put it in after you're done the landscaping, but you want to know what you want in your backyard and around where you want it, or if you want it in your front yard, and how many things you're going to need for it. So when I was done mapping out my landscaping, you kind of see that I mostly put stuff in the backyard. So I have a bird fountain, some planter boxes. I wanted the observatory, some monkey bars, and the little child's experiment set. And I didn't really put anything in the front yard. But one thing when you do map out your landscaping, you're gonna want to put a mailbox and you're gonna want to put your trash can where you want it. So normally I would put a trash can in the back and the front yards of houses. I'm not sure why, it's just something that I always do. But you are going to want to put that in when you map out stuff because that can make a real difference when you're done mapping it out and where your landscaping is going to go. Okay, I put my trash can and mailbox. Now for the next step that we're going to do. Where do your Sims walk? And now you may think that you have to literally get a Sim, but it really isn't that hard. What you're going to do is you're just going to take your train paint, make it small, like it can be a stone, whatever you need, because this is literally just going to be a map, and you're going to think, stairs are right here, where would my Sims walk to get to the monkey bars? So my Sims would probably walk like that, or like that to get to the monkey bars, and to get to the trash can and activity table, they would probably walk like that. And to get to the observatory, they would walk like this, maybe they'll walk a bit from the monkey bars, and they'll also can get to the bird and planters. They also may exit the observatory to get to the planters. So it's literally basically just routing paths for Sims. Then same can be said for if you have any fences. My Sims are probably going to exit the fence. They'll probably maybe walk around some of the landscaping, and maybe they'll go off the lot right here, and maybe they'll come onto the lot right here. They'll stop at the mailbox. Maybe there's like a pathway for like normally where they get in the trash can. That's literally all you need to map out your landscaping. It really isn't that hard, and it's the easiest way to figure out where your Sims walk. Now, these are going to be almost now you're getting into your landscaping. So you just finished mapping it out. Now what you're going to do is you're going to kind of make paths with terrain paint. So I'm just going to erase most of the terrain paint that I put down here. And I'm going to make a path up to the front. Now, if I want to do that with terrain paint, the easiest way to do is choose the stone that I want, or choose maybe the grass that I want, or maybe the dirt that I want. Go into square and size it up for a proper path. Just come click, go down, click. So it's going to come onto the firmest softness, square to however big you need it. Then all you're just going to do is you're just going to click and drag like this. So click, release, click. Done. That's literally all you need to do. Then if you're going to make a pathway to the back, say I want to use dirt, we're going to start by actually erasing my terrain paint to the back. Now I'm just going to grab some dirt, and I'm going to size it down to a circle because I want it to be a circle. I'm going to adjust my softness so that it's less soft. I'm just going to kind of do some oh, that's way too hard for me. I don't like my terrain paint really hard. I really like it soft. I'm just going to kind of make a slight dirt path to the back. Sometimes maybe I'll put dirt a bit thicker, but this is the easiest way to just kind of brush some dirt almost like a path. Also, don't make it a straight line. You really want to make it windy and squiggly because that's going to be the best way that you're going to see where your path is. Now, I kept some of the stone back here, almost like maybe they pulled up some stone from the ground, but you don't have to do that. I just like to do it for like decorative purposes, and sometimes it can look better if you do it. It's really all your choice with when you frame the walking paths. Okay, you just finished framing the walking paths and they look awful. Here's what you're going to do. You grab the eraser, you adjust its softness all the way down, and you pat. You literally pat where you think it's too harsh, and you just basically narrow down the path. I will literally pat all back here. Now that looks way better, and it doesn't look as harsh for my walking path. But you can still see the dirt back there. So terrain paint can really make a big difference in your build. Next one we're going to do is figuring out where you want to place your trees. So when you do this, another tip is to look out in the landscaping around you. What trees are they using? So they're using these trees. Let's find the trees that they're using in my catalog, and then we'll place them down somewhere in my build, like that. Then another tip too, we're having like 3 tips in one here, is to use debug. So say there's some landscaping that you can't find in your catalog no matter where you look. You click Control Shift C, then you turn on testing, cheats, true. Then you'll turn on 2 cheats, bb.show hidden objects and bb.show live edit objects. And when you turn those on, you should be able to search up debug here, and a bunch of these guys will pop up. Click whatever one you want. Now you can filter by pack if you want, and this is literally going to be every single thing that you use in this pack. Like UFO fruit that you probably got that you have no idea how to get. Here's how you get it. It's $600 from debug. This is literally going to be every single thing possible that you can get. It's going to be like stupid stuff like the baby food maybe, but it can also be kind of cool, like maybe this twig that you never even knew that existed. So what you're going to do is you're kind of going to search around in debug, and this can take ages, especially if you have multiple packs. That's why I would suggest searching by packs, like filtering by pack, so you find maybe some landscaping that you want. Like this guy is really cute. When you find that landscaping, you're just going to copy it because you cannot get the landscaping back from debug because you literally have to re-find it in debug. So I like to copy the landscaping when I find this. I told you there's some weird stuff in debug. That's literally the default baby. It's awful. Now, after you found some flowers and some landscaping that you may like, that kind of matches the environment, or maybe it doesn't match the environment. It's perfectly okay if it doesn't match the environment. You're going to start with the actual build and how to place down the landscaping. So I just pulled a bunch of debug landscaping. It looks awful right now, but we're going to show you how to fix it. First step, find the biggest thing that you pulled. You can size it down, size it up, wherever you want. Place it smack dab in front of your build. Like literally, I'm going to place it right near the stairs. There's my plant. It can also help when you're debugged to hold Option. Then I'll find another plant that I may want, and maybe I'll place this one a bit bigger back here. Now you're just kind of going to put those plants almost like statement pieces all around your build. They don't have to be the same plant. They can be totally different plants. But you're just going to want to get them all around your build so that you know where the bulk of the landscaping is going to be in your build. Also, make sure that you put at least one of the plants near all the trees. So I'm just going to find some trees that are kind of in and around the world. And there's one of them. Then, of course, you may put way too much landscaping down from debug. You may want to use some actual landscaping from big bushes. I always am a real big fan of this boobles bush because I feel like it matches a lot of builds. But whatever you guys want to do, you can place down and around kind of now, mostly the big bushy bushes that are going to be all around your build, and that's going to be almost the structure for your landscaping. Now, I would suggest putting them a lot around your backyard, and again, right near your tree. Like this big bush goes right near my tree. Perfect. This guy may go right next to this tree. But just put them all around your build, near almost the fences and the sides of your build. Now that you're done with that, you're going to want to almost put the flowers near the bushes. So near and around the bushes, almost framing your build. Also, one thing I found that foundations are a pain. So feel free to totally lower your foundation to do this, then raise it back up later, because I get you. Now we see here that I didn't pull actually enough flowers. So now I have to go back into debug and search around for those flowers that I pulled. That's why it may be helpful to like over pull rather than under pull because you can always delete them later. So I just finished placing the first flower all around my build. Now you're going to see these, now you're going to find a little bush that you have and you're just going to kind of place them deeper into the flowers. So maybe I'll place mine right here and around the bush, almost like more of a structure for your little landscaping. Then you can't actually like eye drop debug landscaping, sadly. So you do actually have to like physically find it in debug, which does suck when you don't pull enough of it. But again, we all do it. I just did it again. I really thought I had enough of that landscaping. Apparently I don't. While you're searching around in debug, you may find some other stuff that you want to put in your world. And I actually did find some good stuff that I didn't even find in debug before, like these cute little bushes that kind of match the environment around. So that's always fun when you find a little bush that you hadn't found before. So another tip too, when you have the bushes at their core, you just decorate the landscaping all around the bushes. That's really how you get nice, big, and fluffy, luscious landscaping. After you're done with that, you can put your foundation back up. No, sadly, your stairs will not come back up with your foundation. That is sad. They just get deleted. So you will have to replace all your stairs and that stuff, but it isn't the worst thing that you'll have to replace because they're actually quite easy. And mostly when you do lower your foundation, you don't actually have to replace much. Okay, so I just replaced my stairs. Now for the final trick for this type of landscaping, which I call bushy landscaping or bush landscaping, you're going to want to find flowers. So I really like to use these Opa daisies in like the pinky color, and you just stape those around the outside of all your landscaping. Like literally spam them. These you can almost think of as a frame for your landscaping. So you know when you have a picture, the landscaping that you just did is your picture. These daisies are your frame that you are going to put everywhere around your picture. And yes, these daisies will be massively expensive when you actually use them because of how many you're going to be putting down. But one thing that you do when you landscape is you really have to have a budget when you landscape. So I think that was like 5 tips in one. So I'm just going to review all the tips I just gave you right here. First tip, use a bunch of different bushes. That's just going to make your build look way better rather than if you just use 2 types of flowers and 1 bush. Next tip I gave you, use debug. It will help you a lot. Third one I just gave you, look around to try to match the landscaping that is around you. Fourth tip I just gave you, put landscaping around fences and trees to almost frame the build. Also mixed in with that one, use trees. Final tip I just gave you, use the bushy landscaping method if you want to make it bushy. Put a bush down, put bushes around your build, and then frame out the bushes with landscaping. Final tip I just gave you, use little flowers and put them around everywhere. Now I'm going to show you how to frame your landscaping with terrain paint. First, you're going to find your terrain paint and you're going to put it around medium softness. So in the middle, in the circle one, that's kind of around 3 big. Now around your landscape, you're just going to kind of click around to put terrain paint there, and it will look a bit dark. That's how you want it. Now you're going to put this all around your landscaping and all around your actual build. So anything that you put on your build, foundations, fence, your actual build, planters, little observatories, you're going to want to put this all around those. It doesn't matter what it is. If there's something on the ground, there is dirt going there. It's just going to make it look a million times better and like it's a lot more complete. So you can also put it around little pathways that you made. Like the one that we made up to the house, I'm going to put some stuff around there. Because again, it just makes it look way more complete and like the stuff has been there for a while. Not like you just freshly moved in and put the stuff there and there's no terrain paint. Okay. Now we go into the eraser. Eraser, big one, adjust softness all the way down, tap, tap, tap. If you're doing the eraser for around any pathways, you will have to redo your pathways, which sucks, but it will look better when done. And it's one of those things that just trust the process because it will look amazing when done. You also have to make sure to tap with the eraser because if you don't, you're going to get this weird line in your terrain paint that doesn't look good. And now we have to redo my path, which is okay. Brush size to how big you want the path to be. Softness all the way up. Tap, move, tap. Done with that one. Now that we kind of have our terrain paint done, which was tip, I'm not actually sure. I lost track of how many tips we have. I have a list I'm checking off. We do not need to know what number of tip this is. I'm going to show you how to do a planter on a more modern build. So I'm going to head to Spring Break residence and show you how to do the little planters there. Never mind, if you want to build and you do not have the money to, free real estate on. We'll save you, and I'm telling you that right now. Now that free real estate's on, you can move into any lot for free, which is perfect. I'm not sure why I felt the need to move a sim in there. I just clicked the button and decided to continue going for it. So here's our lovely desert house with palm trees that seemed glitched. Not sure why. But we don't want to do bushy landscaping for this fancy desert house. So we're going to do something that's fenced landscaping. So I'm going to start by getting rid of all the landscaping up front. I'm only going to do this in the front because sometimes it doesn't look as good in the back. So what you're going to do is you're going to find the fence category. Now, if different packs come different fences, but I'm only going to use the base game for this one. So we're going to use this guy's Smooth Keeper, and I'm going to put it to this grayish color. Now with your little draw tool, you're basically just going to go one out of the build, draw a line, and one back in, almost like a planter box. Now you're going to do this wherever you want there to be like a planter box look in your build. So sometimes I'll do it kind of up the pathway because I like how it looks, but it really all just depends on how you want it to look. And you can't put fences right beside the end of your lot. So if you do want to do it up your pathway, you're going to have to improvise and put like a bush out the front. So now that I have all where I want my planter boxes to kind of be, I'm going to press Control and drag along the fence to delete where I don't want fence to be. Now I'm just going to grab like a grass, almost flooring, and I'm just going to put it right under my planter box so that it looks like grass, not concrete. Now since I did do it up to the end of the lot, I'll need a bush at the front of the lot. So again, you observe the landscaping around, kind of a lot of these white bushes. So maybe I find one that kind of looks like that. Or maybe like I'll add this at the front. That guy even kind of looks good. So just bushes at the front of the lot. Or maybe you can add like a garbage can there or your mailbox. Really just depends, but you don't want it to be empty because then it kind of looks incomplete. Now, you want to make this look very neat and clean. So observe the landscaping. We're in Oasis Springs, so I'm probably going to use this. I'm just going to go rows of this along your little box. You're just going to make them look very, very like somebody put them in there professionally. Now that you've done that, you may want to add maybe some grass in your box. I also find the little patches of flowers go really, really well in the boxes. So those guys may be a good option to put at the bottom of your box. Then if you want a bit more plants in your box, you can also find another bush and put them every other one. It's all just kind of experimenting with how you want your planter box to look, but the whole point to kind of make your planter box is to kind of make it look like it's professionally done and very neat and modern. So I will mostly do this in like Oasis Springs. I also found that if you have Eco Lifestyle, the world that comes with Eco Lifestyle, I can't remember the name right now. What is it called? Can't remember it. Will also be really good for this. So now you see that I'm just going to go in with a different bush kind of and put it in because I figured it would look good if I did that. Sometimes you also have to redo landscaping a lot to get it to look the way that you want, which is okay because it can take forever to get good landscaping done. And done. There's kind of the planter box method of landscaping. And again, with any landscaping, we're going to do terrain paint, adjust the softness circle, just kind of go around the planter box, giving it terrain paint to make it look somewhat good. Now I'm going to show you guys one more method, which I'll normally use more in suburban homes. This time, I'm thinking I'm going to go into Willow Creek to use it. And this method is going to be called the shaping method. Now, if any of you guys saw my video where I started to rebuild New Crest and I built a starter home, I used the shaping method for that landscaping. It is one of the best methods for suburban homes, and I truly do really, really like the shaping method for all suburban homes. So with the shaping method, I will mostly use a bush, and that bush slash flower is the low-lying pale yellow flower. So what I do, you can really use anyone for this. Sometimes you can even use this, but you want them to be very like down and low-lying, kind of like the yellow one is. You could even use grass for this or a type of flower in here. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to shape out your landscaping. So I want it to be near the edge of the home right here. So I'm almost going to make kind of like a semicircle and just shape out where I want my landscaping to be in this home. So this is going to be almost like the frame of the landscaping before you put the picture in. So we did the frame last. This time we're going to kind of do the frame first to get a different look. Okay, now that I did that, I am going to find a big bush. Again, look in the environment for bushes that kind of look like they belong here. Now I'll put a big bush at almost the back of my landscaping. So along the back, I really want to put the bigger bushes so that they're easier to be seen, and it will just make it kind of look better. Again, use variety when you put all the bushes down. Make sure to at least repeat the bush once or twice. Now that I've put the big bush down, you're going to use almost like a smaller flower and go around to fill up all the empty space. This one, you're only going to want to use one flower, and you'll see why in a minute. We filled up all the empty space. Now you go back with a different bush slash flower, and you're going to put it in the middle of all those flowers all around. Now that I put the different flower back, I think you know what's next. You're going to do the daisies again, because why not? They just look amazing. And there is kind of our frame landscaping done, or the mapping landscaping. Again, you could go lighter or heavier on the daisies. Sometimes I prefer to go a bit lighter on them, especially when I do this landscaping technique. But there's my one done. And again, at the end of all landscaping, you always frame the terrain paint around the landscaping, and so it looks good, and frame it around the house. Then you go in with the deleter and you just make sure that's lighter. Now that I'm all done with the landscaping tips, we have one more tip, and it is to really be creative. You can go on the gallery and search up fairy home, and there will be some really, really creative landscapings there. And it doesn't look out of place just because it isn't one of the techniques, but it can look really, really good when you actually get it all done. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below any other landscaping tips that you normally use. I hope this helped out a lot, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!